Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm MD Gaming, and today we're going to talk about the Tier 4 Nevada, a slow ship with bad accuracy but hits pretty hard. I'm going to focus on an accuracy build with using William Sims. I'm going to use Andrew Cunningham for his main battery shell grouping trait, along with Achino for his main battery shell grouping trait as well. Now again, we're going to focus on an accuracy build, and with that you got to be able to use the flammable cannoneer. This is going to increase your shell grouping by whatever percentage level your guy's at. Yes, you're going to have a higher risk of catching fire, but we can mitigate that with legendary skills. Again, focusing on range and shell grouping are important. Next is gyrating drill bits. We're going to increase the main battery AP damage. Yes, we're going to take a hit on that maximum battleship speed, so it's going to be even slower, but as long as you mitigate it through map placement, you'll be fine. Next is marksmanship. We're doing main battery dispersion. Dispersion and shell grouping are different, so adding both of them is going to be very beneficial. And then we're going to do reaching out XXL to increase our battery range. Again, focusing on range and accuracy. Now we're going to use fight fire with fire for our legendary skill, so when we do catch fire, it's going to lessen the damage that we take over time. And then if our damage control is on cooldown, we're going to be able to if we catch fire 3 times, it'll automatically trigger our damage control party, which will eliminate any fires or floods that you may have. So let's jump into the game and talk about the Tier 4 Nevada. So let's first talk about the placement. So because the Nevada is super slow, you need to focus on trying to stay as close as you can and not really going all the way to the outside if you can avoid it. If you go all the way to the outside, you could take yourself out of the play for the entire game. So sticking close is going to be very beneficial, but again, there's a higher risk of encountering destroyers or giving up your broadside to crossfire. But it's a risk I'm willing to take because I have a couple islands in front of me. Again, on this side, this is the strong side in my opinion. And the reason for that is because caps C and B are both on this side. If we're able to get all the way into B cap and capture it, we're going to be generating more points than the enemy, which is going to be extremely beneficial in the long run. Also, when they fight and go to A, then they have to come all the way back to us to try to get those points back, and we have a lot of islands for cover. But everyone always goes to A, and that's just because A is sexier than B. There's more fights that go on over there. There's more open water, so it's a lot better play. It's more fun. But if you're trying to go for the win, C and B is where you want to go. So if you look right here, we have the Wyoming that just popped up. We're going to shoot AP. You always want to try to lead. I'm trying to go for the superstructure, so I aimed a little bit higher than the water line, and that's just because he has a pretty good angle. And then as you can see, because I have the AP damage on William Sims and I aimed for that superstructure, I was able to do 13,000 damage. Just know when good ships are angled pretty well to you, don't try to go for the bow, try to go for that superstructure, because even if you miss and it drops a little bit, you'll still hit the upper belt, which is a little bit softer than say the main torpedo belt. So it's just a better area to attack if an enemy is doing a really good job of angling towards you. Another important thing to think about as a battleship player is to throttle. So go full speed, go 3/4, go back all the way into full stop. Just change your speeds, because you never know when a destroyer is going to be around a corner who's shot torpedoes based on that prediction line. And if you change your throttle speeds, it'll throw off that prediction line pretty well. Whenever you get close to a battleship, you want to try to go bow in to try to avoid any type of damage. As you see, I lost my 2 rare turrets. I also aimed a little bit higher just because I didn't know if the angle was going to be strong enough, so I wanted to aim for more of the upper belt rather than say the citadel area. It's important to use the terrain to your advantage. So I'm kind of losing my self-control with my angle, so I'm going to run into this island at full speed. This is going to bring me all the way back to 0 knots, which when I throw it into full reverse, I actually start reversing a lot quicker. Whereas if I did not use that island, it would have took 30 seconds. I probably would have overshot the island, which would allow the Chunk King to fire some torpedoes, or if there's a destroyer to fire his torpedoes, and ultimately sink me. Now I'm able to throw myself into reverse, get myself under cover, get a good reset so I'm not taking those fire damage ×2, and then get my reload and my turrets all ready to go to push again. And with that, the farragut pops up. So again, it's very important just to take a tactical pause. Now I'm able to throw myself in reverse, switch over to HE, and prepare myself for the destroyer. Whereas if I didn't run into that island and I kept going, that destroyer would have been a super easy target to fire his torpedoes and basically knock me out of the game. Now there's a good balance between being close to the destroyer and then being far enough away from the destroyer to avoid the torpedoes. For me, 4 or 5 kilometers with all 4 guns pointed right over the crest is ideal for me because it's going to do the most damage to the destroyer while allowing me an ability to maneuver, hopefully knock out some of those torpedoes along the way. The Nevada's rotor shift is pretty good, so you're going to be fine kind of going more broadside. You know there's no more battleships there, so opening yourself up to allow your turrets is going to be very effective. As you can see, I'm 3 kilometers away from the frigate. I was able to get 4 penetrations out of it, lost half his health, but now I know he's going to fire his torpedoes. He's going to use that prediction line, and because he's using that prediction line, you want to just be able to alter your course automatically. I would recommend not trying to go forward immediately. What you're really going to do is you're going to try to get an angle by going in reverse and then going forward. If you just try to stop yourself immediately, then there's a high chance that you're dead in the water and some torpedoes are going to hit you. So just keep going your same path and get a good angle. Now this just turns into target prioritization. I saw the Chun King going forward. I thought he was going to push and release his torpedoes, but ultimately he flared out, which now allows me to go focus on the frigate, so I'm going to open up myself again. Luckily frigates, because I'm such a low tier, have a high detection range. The mountain symbol's still there, but I know my front turrets are outside that mountain range, so I was able to get the firing kill. With the frigate gone and also the battleship gone, really the Chun King is the only one left. And now for target prioritization, since he's the only one left, that's the one you gotta focus on. Now you're gonna have a choice to make with these type of ships. You can either flare to the outside and get an angle on it in case he tries to cut in, or you can go around the island and just get him unsuspected on the broadside. But if he keeps pushing past the island, then he'll be out of your sight. So I chose to go to the outside, but you're gonna see later on that because of the decision that you'll make in these battleships, since they go so slow, it's going to take you the rest of the game to recover. So just know that whatever you make a decision and you make a decision to go away from the fight, it's just going to take you that much longer because you're the slowest ship in the entire game. And with that ship now destroyed, I'm kind of out of luck. I'm out of position to capture B. I'm too far away to help protect A. Now for the while, I'm going to be unable to assist. Shooting randomly at destroyers is always a good idea. As you can see, sometimes you'll land a hit. And when I'm ever a battleship against a destroyer, I always think, what is the most unreasonable shot that I should be leading with? And that's the shot I take, because somehow it always works to hit the destroyer. They're just so nimble, it's very hard, especially at 13K. So that landed hit was a very lucky shot. Again, going back to the main focus, which is going to be capturing B. If I kept going straight initially, I probably would have already captured B, and the enemy would not be getting any points, and I'd be drawing 2 caps worth of points, which would just be able to help our team out a lot more. But again, because I did that flare out, put us out of a position, and now the enemy is going to be able to capture A before I'm going to be able to capture B. Again, unrealistic shots matter. In the words of Michael Jordan, you miss all the shots you don't take. So just fire, and if you land them, you're going to do a good job. You're going to help out your team. But again, the focus is going to be capturing B and then utilizing your friendly ships and the Nevada's range to provide crossfire support to unsuspecting enemy ships as they chase their fellow blue teammates. But the New York has different plans, so now I have to focus on him. I'm going to try to open up all 4 of my guns, hoping that he can't turn on me quick enough. I look at the upper left hand corner, I see that he's broadside, so I aim at water level, and then I try to immediately turn in to avoid his shots by angling. He's able to get a good citadel on me, but I was able to get an even better citadel on him. And this highlights the main theme of American battleships, and that is making sure that you're angling forward. Again, they're pretty tough, but that being said, they'll still take a beating if you don't angle properly. So angling in a American battleship is going to be a must. When an enemy is going straight away from you, you're going to want to try to shoot a little bit higher of the superstructure. and that is to just, you're leading the target and you're hoping that the rounds will fall into the enemy's upper deck and then reach into a citadel further below. As you can see, I had 2 penetrations right there, and now I'm trying to capture B while trying to shoot the New York. And the New York and I are going to be exchanging hits. Again, any ship that is fleeing is going to have a tactical advantage over any ship that is chasing, just because their rounds are going to be easier to impact you from the front rather than you from the rear. So again, trying to lose your shots, you always want to try to aim higher, because ultimately you're trying to shoot where the ship is going to be, and so by aiming higher they're going to drive into it. If you aim at the water line, if you're at a far distance, you're just going to end up short, which is going to be painful as a battleship player, because then you have to wait 20 to 30 seconds for more rounds when you can get hits the initial time. But while you're waiting for the reload to finish, it's always good to look at the upper left-hand mini-map to kind of see where the enemy is along with your teammates, so you can plan your next move while you wait if you're just one-on-one with another ship. Now, American battleships are able to go either HE or AP. Both are pretty effective. I would recommend when enemies start getting further distance from you and you know that they're going to do a good job of angling, to switch to HE rounds. This is going to allow you to try to start fires, and then it's going to burn over time. And with battleships, they have a very long damage control party cooldown, so if you're able to start a fire, they cancel it out, and then you start another fire, it's going to burn for about a minute, which is going to do a lot of damage. As you can see, I threw myself into full stop. The Mighty Jingles once said that one of the hardest things to do is to do absolutely nothing. And you'd be surprised how much winning you can do if you do absolutely nothing. So throwing myself into reverse and prioritizing capturing B is going to allow us to collect more points, rather than me trying to push the New York in a super slow Nevada and then trying to destroy all other 3 ships to win. Sadly, there's nothing you can do against aircraft carriers keeping you spotted, so my only hope is going to be to capture before the aircraft carrier can actually be in range to reset the clock. And that's just something as a player you're going to have to understand, is whenever there's an aircraft carrier player on the map, something's just out of your hands, you just can't control it. But luckily I was able to capture the base before the aircraft carrier did some damage, and now we're going to be generating twice as many points as the enemy. If you look at the top of the map, we have 3 minutes left to go. The enemy is up by about, say, 60 points, which is honestly the exchange of destroying 1 ship, and that's just because they are able to capture A before I was able to capture B. When facing aircraft carriers, you have to know what type of aircraft carrier you're facing against. So because I know I'm not going against a Surov, I know when it comes to torpedoes, I face the bow into the torpedoes, and when it comes to bombers, I try to go broadside. With the Surov, you just try to go bow into everything. This aircraft carrier player is still trying to learn, so those 2 should have done a lot of damage to me. However, I was still safe, and now I'm just going to be able to destroy him. And now I'm just going to try focusing, trying to capture A and moving towards there. There's going to be a lot of advantages to going towards A. It's going to bring in the enemy. It's going to get me closer to hopefully cap and stop their points. And I'm going to be able to support my teammates. But this is again where you're going to see the flaw of the American battleships, and that is just going to be their speed. I'm all the way at B. I have 2.5 minutes left to go there, and I'm not even going to be able to make it all the way to A. And this is why proper map placement is essential when you're playing the American battleship lines, if you're going to focus on the accuracy range build. When you get that minus percentage for speed, it really puts you at a disadvantage when going and fighting against enemies. And I'm not going to be able to support anybody for a long time because the other enemy is all the way at the edge of the map. Now, you just saw probably about 10 seconds ago I switched from HE to AP. It's very important that before you start moving that you make the correct ammunition choice in a battleship before moving. I could have been able to shoot the New York with a broadside with armor piercing, maybe being able to get 2 shots off before I lose them completely, but because I made that HE adjustment to AP, I was only able to get 1 shot, which kind of leaves him alive. And that's going to put us at a strong disadvantage because now we just lost the Langley to the other battleship. And so now we're down to 2 ships against 3. And the 1 ship that is on my team, as I've realized, is AFK. So really it's 3 ships against 1. Luckily, because I have Bravo and Charlie Cap, it's keeping us within the game. So there's only an 80-point difference. I check which target's the best target. The New York that I was firing at is peeling away, so I'm not going to be able to fire at him anymore. I'm able to get a sight on him thanks to the other AFK battleship. I aim for the mid-belt. I pray to the RNG gods, hoping for Citadel, and they don't give it to me. And I'm heartbroken because now there's only 1 shot left to go in the game. We're down by 70 points. So this is where don't do anything comes into play. I have 2 ships. The ship that was going away decided it would be better for him to keep trying to attack me, whereas if he just did nothing and went invisible, I would have to have a good shot. Again, aim for the mid belt. I'm praying to the RNG gods. I'm just gonna look away because I'm scared of what's gonna happen, and destroyed. And if that New York player did not chase me, then they would have won the game. Or if we didn't capture B cap, they would have won the game. Again, 2 of the greatest lessons to be learned in this game is not only is how to play the Nevada, but how important it is to not do anything when you're winning to secure the win, and caps will make all the difference in the game at the end. So I just hope you learned how to play the Nevada, but also you learned that it's also important to sometimes run away or do nothing or capture a base. In the end, I was able to do 108,000 damage. I killed 3 ships. I was able to capture that B base, which netted me 2,350 XP, and I was able to finish first with 3 kills, a Dreadnought, First Blood, and High Caliber Medal. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching my video. Please like and subscribe if you like my content, but more importantly, please leave comments below. Let me know how I can improve, or let me know what things you did like. Thank you guys so much for everything. You guys have a good one. And with that, MD Gaming out.